This is my first sermon, and it's going to be on the first word of the Bible, the Holy Bible. Now, here we are on Bible Gateway, and we're looking at Isaiah 46:10, chapter 46, verse 10. I used to think the correct pronunciation of Isaiah was Isaiah, but it's not. The correct pronunciation is Isaiah. He was a prophet that lived about 800 years before Jesus was born. And he said this in chapter 46, verse 10 of the King James Version. By the way, I recommend you always use the King James Version if you're reading and writing in English or speaking in English. That is the most correct version of the translations into English. It was translated from the Greek and the Hebrew, and I believe probably the Latin also. King James of the British Isles, who was king of 3 nations, was the guy that got together a group of experts who translated the Bible for the first time so it could be read by ordinary people. Before that time, it could only be read by certain people, mainly in the Catholic Church. So this made it possible for the masses to start reading the Bible. In my opinion, all of the other versions of the Bible have been corrupted, the English translations, for one reason or another, possibly to make money. Another reason would be to deceive people and lead them in the wrong direction. You see, the King James Version is not copyrighted any longer. The copyright ran out, so you can't really make money by printing it. They have to make a new version to try to charge money for the new version. But there are some people, I believe, and I'll argue that at some point in the future, who are deliberately deceiving the people that read their translation of the Bible. Now, when we come down here to get to the heart of the matter, Isaiah said 800 years before Christ, he said, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. What's he saying here? He says, well, we really need to know what happened from the very beginning, what's going to happen. And a prophecy is necessary. And he said, go back to ancient times to find out about the things that are not yet done. And he's talking about the Lord here. He's saying, my counsel shall stand. In other words, what I do will stand, and he will do what he wants to do. It's his pleasure to do what he wants to do. So that's why I'm reading that to you. We want to go back into the past. And to do so, here's what we do. We go right here, I've lined them up, and we go and we look at, right here, oops, I'm having a little trouble getting over there. I'll work it out in a minute. A little fuzzy this morning, okay. We go right here to this one. Okay, this is the Hebrew alphabet. The Hebrew language is considered the holy language or the divine language, and I'll show you why. I'll attempt to show you why. First off, here's the modern translation of the letters, the modern symbols of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. By the way, there are 22 of them. We have 26 in the English alphabet. So it only had 22 letters. It starts with the letter Aleph, A-L-E-F. It's spelled A-L-E-P-H right here. It's a little hard to see because I couldn't get the image big enough and get it on one screen. So you'll have to bear with me. Now here is the ancient Hebrew. That's as far back as you go. That's thousands of years old, the ancient version. It's an ox head. You see that? He's got horns and he's got the face of the ox. Now it was changed in Paleo Hebrew, which was a later version to look like an A turned sideways. These would be the horns up here of the ox. They just sort of turned it to the side. And then that was switched over to where we got the letter A for the Latin and English alphabets. In other words, if you take the ox head and you turn it upside down, you'll basically have a letter A. Now here's the modern Hebrew right here. We're not going to get into that. We're going to stick with the ancient. I'm just trying to show you how this works. This column right here, running all the way down, this was the original ancient Hebrew. Now, I think you would agree with me that it's best to go back to the beginnings. Anytime you translate a language to another language, there are going to be errors. It's impossible to get the exact translation. So the best way to understand the Bible is to go all the way back to the ancient times to understand it. And we're going to do it right here. I'm going to show you certain letters in these 22 that are very important. And I'm going to explain why in just a moment. So we'll go right here and we'll go back and we'll look at right here, the first one. Okay, I made that large so you can see. We're only going to look at 6 letters. The first word of the Holy Bible is Bereshit. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. In English, it means in the beginning. You know how the book of Genesis starts, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Well, the first word of the Hebrew Bible is Bereshit, which means in the beginning. Now, here's the way the word Bereshit came about. This is Aleph, A-L-E-P-H, or A-L-E-F is another way to spell it. Now, it's the ox head. We're going to talk about that. Why was it the ox head? The ox was the most powerful animal in the Middle East. They did the heavy-duty work. They could pull a real heavy plow, for example. They could pull large loads. They were powerful. They didn't know anything about elephants and that sort of thing, or larger animals. They knew the ox was a very powerful animal that was known at that time. Now, what does it mean? First off, it's supposed to be a silent letter, but actually you can hear it. The value is 1. In other words, God is number 1. The basic meaning of this symbol, this ancient ox head, is God, the creator, the first, the strength, leader, Lord, king, and sovereign, which means the ruler over things. So that's all the meanings. The Hebrew language, the Hebrew alphabet is the only alphabet that has philosophical meaning, where the letters they have philosophical meanings and they have a name. For example, we don't have a name for our letter A, it's just A. And we know we're taught that you say A, or sometimes ah. So in this language, it has philosophical meanings, that letter does. It means all these things. Now, the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Bet, a bait, or Vet, V-E-T, right here. See that? And there it is right here. This is the ancient symbol. Don't worry about these. This is the later symbols. By the way, all of these were changed over time, and I think to try to hide the truth. This is where the truth is in the ancient alphabet. All right, this is called Bet, or bait, or vet. And what does it mean? It means house, temple, tabernacle, inn, tent, body, dwelling, and universe. It has all those meanings. Now, why is it, the original meaning was tent, like a tent. See, the people of the Middle East lived out in the semi-arid and desert areas where there's not much grass. They had to hunt around for grass for their sheep. And so they had to live in tents and move from place to place as the grass was used up and try to find some more grass, better grass, grazing grounds, in other words. And so they moved around, they lived in tents. Now this is like you're looking on a tent down from above the tent. Imagine you're in a little drone or a little helicopter and you're looking down on the top of a tent. The top's been taken off. What you would do, you would come in the tent right here. This was the door, this open part. And you would come in here, and the women and the people the children that stayed in this part right here, the safest part of the tent. The men stayed towards the door in case somebody tried to come in the tent. So that's the whole idea. That's a tent. It's a B. Now you can see if we turn that up, it'll be a B. So that's the letter A, Aleph is, and bet is the letter B in the English alphabet. This is where we get alphabet, Aleph, bet. It all comes from Hebrew. Now, we're going to go to the next page. There's some other letters, and we will go into these in the future. For example, Gimel and Dalet, that's a door of the tent. The flap, it was a flap. It wasn't really a door, it was a flap, and you flapped it open to get in. And we'll go into all of that later, but for now, let's just stick with these others. We got two of them now. We got Aleph and bet. Okay, now we come on down to the next series here. We go here, okay. Now, we come to one called Yod, Y-O-D, right here. It's the 10th letter of the alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet. It's spelled Y-O-D, and the Y is pronounced like the Y in yes. It also sounds like an I. What is it? It's a hand, an outstretched hand. This is the arm, the upper arm. This is the elbow, and this is the forearm, and this is the hand. And what does it mean? It means work, hand, activity, or deed. That's the meaning of that symbol in ancient Hebrew. Okay, so now we go to the next one. Let me see. We got the Yod. We got the left bet and the Yod. Oh, we forgot one. We're going to get to it in just a moment. This is the next step. Okay. Now we're going to stop. We're going to leave this one and go to the next level. This is just the Hebrew alphabet divided into 3 parts so we can study it. Okay, now the next symbol that we know about, whoops, I got the wrong one here. Let's see what the problem is. You know what? I've got to go and find the right one. These are photos. I don't think this is the right one. Let me see. I think I got the wrong one here. This is the Hebrew alphabet. I need the top. This is, no, that's the left of the bed. I got to go. It'll just take a moment to find it. Just hang on a moment. And we'll go to it because I don't want to have to start over if I can help it. So let me close these down. And let's see if I can go back. The computer's hanging up a little bit. Okay, let's go right here. We'll open these up. By the way, this is my first sermon. I think I mentioned that already. I hope you're going to like it. Let's see if I can find. Let's go inside to the first sermon. Whoops, that didn't work. Went to the wrong place. Let me go to the, it's not the Hebrew, it's, oh my goodness gracious, I didn't line it up right. I should have been more careful. That's ancient Hebrew alphabet. This should get it right here. Okay. And now here's number 3. This should be it. Third part, we can open it up. Computers run a little bit slow. It's very frustrating working with a computer. Not for everyone. Oh, here we go. Okay. Now we're going to go to Resh. It's going to be the head of a man. See this right here? See, this is an ancient form. This looks like a man's head from the side. There's his hair up here. And here's his neck. And there's his chin and his nose right here. It's Resh. It's the same as the letter R in our alphabet. You see, it looks kind of like an R, and it became an R in our alphabet. By the way, I want to say just a word here. This is the gematria value of the 200. Each Hebrew letter has a gematria value. Gematria means geometry. A lot of people don't know this, but the Bible, not only is it structurally very elegant, it's impossible that it could have been created by humans. It had to come from a supernatural source, and we will try to explain why later as I go. But it also has a a number structure that is profound and could not have been created by humans. What does Resh mean? It means the highest, the most important person. It also means person. It's the highest and the most important, and it means person. That makes sense as a head, the head, the leader. You understand? So the next letter we want to point out is Shin. S-H-I-N. It originally looked like two teeth. You see that right there, the two front teeth? It really looked like kind of like that originally, like I draw it like that. It wasn't really square like this. It really looked like two sort of rounded teeth. Shin is the letter S in our alphabet. Here's a modern symbol. See, it look like W in Paleo Hebrew, and it still looks like a W. Even in the modern Hebrew. The modern Hebrew has been changed even more from the original. What does it mean? What's the meaning of the word shin? To consume or destroy. In other words, you use your teeth, you chew up things, you consume them or you destroy them, you chew them, you bite them. So that's the meaning of shin. Now, the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Tav, T-A-V, see it right here? It's a cross. You see that? It was later changed to an X, and then later on it looks like this. You can't tell anything about it being a cross in the modern Hebrew, but it was originally a cross. That's going to be very important. And what did it mean? It meant cross, covenant, in other words, an agreement between parties, truth, perfection, sign, ownership, and seal. In other words, when you got through writing a document, you would write a T, a cross, if you couldn't sign. They still do that today. If a person can't sign their signature, they write an X or a T, basically. Okay, so that's a little overview of the Hebrew alphabet. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I'm going to tell you about the first word of the Bible. I'm going to do that in a video where you'll see me talking. You don't see me here. I could show you myself in a little photo down here, but it wouldn't really mean much to you, and it would get in the way, so I just leave it off. But now, you should watch this video several times and try to get a grasp of these 6 words, 6 letters, I'm sorry, which are words, by the way. See, the letter, the cross, has a word, Tav. In other words, T in Hebrew has a name. It's got Tav. It's not just a T. And it means these things over here. See, you see, it's a very complex language. The English language is basically, things don't really have a meaning. Like if you see the word C-A-T, cat, there's nothing to tell you that's a cat, except that you've been taught that C-A-T means cat. And it does help you to pronounce the word because you know how to pronounce each letter. So you can say C-A-T means cat or R-A-T means rat. You see, you understand the symbols, but they don't have any meaning. Hebrew, as far as I can know, is the only language where the letters have meaning. Deep meaning, okay? That's very, very important. Now, one other thing I want to say, the Chinese, some languages are picture languages. Hebrew is a combination of the picture, the letter, the symbol that has a certain sound, and it also has the philosophical meaning. Very complex divine language. That's the language God used to communicate with us about his intentions and his purposes. Now, one last point about that, the Chinese language is pictures. For example, you have pictures associated with things. You might have a thing that looks like a cat, but it doesn't show you how to pronounce the words. So that's one of the drawbacks of that picture language. Anyway, that's about it for now. What I'm going to do in the next sermon is to tell you what these 6 letters mean in the context of the first word of the Bible. We're going to tell you what's going to happen in the Bible from the very beginning, from the first word. So that's it for now. But you really should study this over and over. And actually, when you view my other video on the actual first word of the Bible, you'll need to come back and study this more until you get a deeper meaning. And you're going to be learning how to use Hebrew. Now, we'll never be proficient in Hebrew, I don't think. Maybe some people who are extremely quick at catching on the languages will. But we'll learn enough so we can understand where all about Jesus came from. This is what this is all about. The group member asked, what is the meaning of Jesus? And I'm trying to explain it goes all the way back to the very beginning, the meaning of Jesus. So that's all for now. Bye. And thank you very much.